Hari Om Vivek, happy Ugadi.
Happy Ugadi. Thank you. Thank you. Same to you. Same to you.
हरिओम सर।
Hari
Happy Cheti Chand.
चेटी चंग। आज भी चेटी चंग है? अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा।
हाँ,
तो आज गुड़ी पाड़वा भी है। गुड़ी पाड़वा meaning what? Nobody knows. I know what Ugadi means. Ugadi means Yug Adi.
basically it's change of seasons, no, for
Ah,
cultivation to take
uh,
place. Farmers harvest the crop.
yeah, but the meaning of Cheti Chand or meaning of Gudi Padwa, I do not know Marathi that much. But starting of the Yug is Ugadi in Telugu. We'll start. Om Prata Smarami Hridi Sanspuradaatmatattvam Satchit Sukham Paramaham Sagatin Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Shushuptamaveti Nityam Tat Brahma Nishkalamaham Vacha Bhuta Sangha. You chant? 26 to 30.
जीवो ज्ञात्वा भयं वदे नाहं जीव परात्मेति ज्ञातश्चेन्निर्भयो भवेत् आत्मावभासयत्येको बुद्ध्यादीनेन्द्रियाण्यपि दीपो घटादिवत् स्वात्मा जडैस्तैलावलोक्यते स्वबोधेर्नान्यबोधेच्छा बोधरूपतया दीपस्यान्यदीपेच्छा यथा स्वात्मप्रकाशने निषिध्य निखिलो भाति वाक्यतः विद्यादैक्यं महावाक्यै जीवात्मपरमात्मयोः.
Okay. Verse 30 is very famous. We'll come to that. Okay. What questions do you have?
The last time's lecture was actually, you blew me out. I couldn't quite understand that. So I tried listening to it again, but somehow. Can you tell us in short what it actually means?
I don't remember what we spoke.
It was about the reflection of the sun falling onto the water,
Hmm.
and reflect the thoughts. The thought going on to the Atman, and then it shifting, something to that effect.
It was worse. What?
I don't remember the verse.
25.
25. Aha. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this I can explain it. Yeah, this is a little tricky for us also. Uh, let me just share the whiteboard. See, what they're saying is kind of very interesting because they see it's like a person asking from a dream state, please give me an experience of the waking state. What can you do to him? How can you explain him? Are to wake up now? No, waking state is like this, like this. He cannot understand it. Dream mein, he's going on the moon and coming back. He's floating around. And so many things happen, right, in dream. Explain to me what waking state is. What are you saying? I'm here. What are you talking about? That I'm not this? I'm somewhere else? It's practically impossible to explain to him. I don't know if you've watched a movie called Inception. Inception was a very famous movie. Sometimes these people do it, properly. I don't know how they do it. He talks about this. He talks about a circle of a serpent like this. He says, when you're in the dream, I'm 100% sure he must have picked it from Indian texts about illusions and all. He says, you create. What do you do in the dream? You are creating the dream and you are perceiving the dream at the same time. Isn't it? See, in the dream, what is happening? You look there in your dream. Let's say you're going in a car and you look there, you see a good, amazing mountain. You look there, there's a river going on. And you look there, there's traffic. Right? Well, you're driving in the dream. Was there a mountain before? Is there a mountain? No, there is no mountain. Is there a river? No. Is there traffic? No. So in the dream, while you're dreaming, you're creating the objects, simultaneously you're perceiving. That's illusion, he says. Now, to a person like that, you cannot explain what a waking world is. Impossible. So these people are trying their very best to explain what it could be. So they explain in certain ways. So your concept of what I know this world doesn't come by itself. It comes from this combination of what is the world and you. You meaning not the body, not the mind. You. Your body and mind itself part of the world, isn't it? Thought itself is part of the world. So you contact the world, then there is a knowledge. I am angry. Oh, what a beautiful concept. I didn't understand. Or what a beautiful looking small kitten. Everything is object. You are the subject. So what Swamiji is trying to explain is, let's say you see there is water. When there is a beam of light which hits the water, it reflects, isn't it? वो तो सही है. Reflects. You see reflection of some certain things. You see a reflection of sun. You see a reflection of a man walking in a puddle of water. What is happening? The light hits the water and is reflecting. You're seeing through it, right? So he's saying the incident ray is consciousness. Consciousness hits thoughts, which is objects. What is the effect of it is, I know. The conscious principle is I. I hits the thoughts, pool of thoughts, meaning object, the world. I hits the world, you are aware of the world. You can ask. If you remove the consciousness, if you remove the I, who is aware? Nobody. There is no question of awareness. You must be there. Subject must be there to experience the world. Without subject, is there a world?
No. No.
Let's say, no, sir, it must be there. Some people say that it's there. Let's say everybody, there's a term called Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha means when total deep sleep. When everybody is sleeping in the world, does the world exist? Big question mark. See, how are you saying that this glass exists? Somebody has to attest that this glass is there. If I'm not there, does this glass exist? Big question mark. Idealists say it doesn't exist. Realists say it exists. So what one must understand is, unless there is consciousness alighting on the object, there is no cognition of the object. So pure consciousness hits the thoughts, hits the world, and you're aware of the world. The pure consciousness is the Sat, is the Chit. I will confuse a little bit more. This is Chit, object is Sat. This is Chit. Consciousness, the awareing entity hits the objects, then there is a knowledge called I know. An individual is created. Who knows? Individual. As long as there is Chit, as long as there is Sat, there will be individual. So, what is the object? He says thoughts are unknown. We don't know what thoughts are. So what is consciousness? Thoughts minus I know. I know something minus that something. Consciousness is known minus unknown. This is unknown, unknown, and then you know this. You know thoughts, no? You know what you know. Known. This is what you know. So known minus unknown, which is I know something minus that something is a thought, is consciousness. That's what it's saying. Known minus unknown. If you take the example of a light, if you say this is a remote, the remote, when you say I see a remote, you see this object plus the light reflecting from it. When you see the light actually. Light plus this object. So what is light? Light plus object minus object is light. What you know is light plus object. What is light minus this object? Known minus unknown. So what you must also see is, here he's saying, from the indiscriminate union of two, existence and intelligence. See, he is saying what the consciousness alights on is the object now. The consciousness alights on the glass and you know this is the glass object. He's saying the indiscriminate, the unintelligent union, unintelligent person who thinks there is a union between existence and which is Sat and Chit. Then the concept of I know comes. Next verse he says, there is no such Sat and Chit combination. Both are same, he says. So when you talk about this concept of Satchidanand, right? So what you could look at this as, uh, there is this one entity. Even if I say one, that means the concept of two comes. There is this entity, right? There is this entity, which is Atman. You call it whatever. Whatever you see is Atman. Who is seeing is Atman. Why? Because we first came with the premise that everything is Atman. You include it. What you see is Atman. Right? Who is seeing is Atman. Then how is it that I'm seeing different things? He's saying Nama Rupa. You give what you see a name and a form. You look at the world, instead of seeing a unifying entity, you see a name and a form, name and a form, name. This is computer, this is this, this is this, this is a person. So there is a infinite potential which is existing. That is, the isness is called Sat. You understand that? See, there is this infinite potential. The potential is there. Potential meaning what? I don't want to use the word energy also. Energy itself is defined as potential. There is something. That something is. It's there. That isness is called Sat. And Nama Rupa is projected on that isness by you. Ultimately, what are you? You are the same thing. But The individual projects that Namarupa on that isness. He says, what is Sat? Sat means Yada Asti Tat Sat. Whatever is there is Sat. Yad Asti, whatever is there, that is Sat. That is Satyam. So, whatever is there which doesn't not exist is Sat. Whatever is there which doesn't not exist. See, pot exists, right? Pot, ghata asti. Pot exists, but it doesn't exist later, right? So, in an example of pot, what doesn't not exist?
The mud.
Mud. The mud exists. The mud never goes into transformations. But the same mud can be a pot or a glass. Namarupa.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
You say that everything is an illusion, okay? But at the same time, you are saying that you see self in others. So if it's an illusion, then why are you telling us to see self in others?
Because the illusion is projected on the self.
No, but at the same time, it's an illusion. So the whole thing is an illusion.
Ah.
So why should we see self there?
Because the illusion is projected on something. For example, you see a snake. Where is the snake projected on? Do you see
The rope.
on the rope? You don't see a snake anywhere. When you see a car, you don't see a snake. You see a snake only when there is a rope. So there must be something to project the illusion upon. So that illusion, he's saying, hey, what you're seeing is illusion. But there is self behind that illusion, because that illusion must be projected on something. See, what is Namarupa? Namarupa is illusion. See, if you say, sir, you do this thought experiment. If you say, sir, this hand exists, ठीक है, आप माइक्रोस्कोप लो, देखो क्या है हैंड में, आप क्या देखेंगे? You see cells. और अंदर जाके देखो, और क्या मिलेगा? आपको एटम मॉलिक्यूल्स मिलेंगे. और अंदर जाओ, क्या मिलेगा? आपको एटम्स मिलेंगे. और अंदर जाओ, आपको क्या मिलेगा? न्यूक्लियस, वो सब मिलेंगे. और अंदर जाओ, क्या मिलेगा? आपको पार्टिकल्स मिलेंगे. और अंदर जाओ, क्या मिलेगा? एम्प्टी स्पेस मिलेगा. स्पेस है ना सब कुछ अंदर, माइक्रोस्कोपिकली एवरीथिंग. तो आप जूम आउट करके देखो, आपको हाथ मिल रहा है. जूम इन करके देखो, उधर कुछ भी नहीं है. So this is Namarupa. On what did you project this? There is something underneath, underlying. That Sat on which you project this Namarupa. This is illusion. That's what they're saying. When you understand that, this is illusion. Right now, this is not illusion. Somebody hits me, I feel a pain on my hand. But when you understand the Sat, then you understand this is nothing. When you understand this, you don't see that. My Guru says, you put your thumb, you see the thumb, you don't see the world. You see the world, you don't see the thumb. You can't see both. Either you see this or you see that.
So in this case, what you said, that means the rope is actually the self on which we think it's a snake.
Yes.
Okay.
I told you
Vivek,
Ah,
But is the self projected on the illusion, or is the illusion projected on the self?
rope is a self. Is the snake, is the rope projected on the snake or the snake projected on the rope? That's your question. Snake is
Yeah, no, but you said that you get nama rupa because the self is projected on the illusion. The
No.
nama rupa is illusion. That's what you meant. You said.
So you project the name and form nama rupa on the self. See, if you go underneath, if you go inside this world, underneath the basic, if you go, cut it open and see what's inside, you will see pure energy. That's it. That energy localized is a name and form. It's pure energy. Don't want to use the word energy. Again, energy, you will feel it's like electricity. It's not energy. It's pure potential. Potential of what? I don't know. There is something out there, in there, upon which everything is. See, for example, a wave says, I am a wave. Is there a wave? There is no such thing as a wave. That word itself is a wrong word. It's technically wrong. Why? It's just water. It's just the ocean. Where is the wave? Wave has no independent existence. Wave is just name and form, temporary name and form. But what is that wave? It's the ocean. There is nothing else other than the ocean when you see a wave. The wave is a projection on the ocean. The snake is a projection on the rope. You and I are a projection on the self. There is this potential, whatever it is. If you intellectually understand, it's crazy because there is nothing else other than it. Then where are all these various things coming from? From there. You are making a differentiation in everything. This is different, that is different, this is different. Everything is the same thing. Everything is just one unifying principle. There is nothing other than that. And it's not that you are conscious of it. It is conscious. If I say I am conscious of that underlying principle, I am different from that underlying principle. How can that be? The Sat does not exist independent of the Chit. It's a conscious Sat. The existence itself is consciousness. Existence itself is conscious. There can't be something other which is conscious of Sat. Then is different from Sat. Can't be. There's one infinite consciousness. There's one infinite existence that itself is conscious. Sat is Chit. And Sat Chit Anand kyun hai? Word, why they use the word Anand? Sat understood. Sat must be Chit because you're conscious, right? I'm conscious, right? I know I'm conscious. How in the world am I conscious? Why am I not a rock? Like a rock. That Sat itself is Chit. I'm aware that I exist. I exist as this Vivek is a misnomer. But I exist. See, one of the physicists says very interesting. He says, let's say you are born with a goggles, right? Which takes all the sensory inputs of a drone flying in the sky, right? Experiment, think about it. You're always been seeing through that goggles, whatever the drone is seeing, right? So hearing, feeling, everything. So your entire experience is of that experience of the drone. But let's say the drone crashes. Not born, like you've been using it for a long time. Then you remove. Oh, I'm here. Wow, what an experience. This is the death of the body, he says. You are experiencing you're conscious of all the experiences. I know all the thoughts through this physical embodiment. The moment this body dies, you go through another body, experience another thing. That body dies, you go through another experience. You look, because I can't see what Ashaji is seeing. She can't see what I'm seeing. So my experience is through that drone. My experience is through this body. When the body dies, I'm there. Then next Janma, I experience through another baby. Then
So you enjoy, there is enjoyment or anand only when you recognize the sat.
for the individual.
Yeah, for the individual.
Yes. For
So
the individual.
otherwise, there is no anand till you
How?
recognize the sat.
Yeah. Why not? Because, see, I'll explain the Anand part now. Sat, we understand. Everything is Sat. That has to be conscious because I'm conscious. You're conscious. All living beings are conscious. So that Sat itself is Chit. Now that Sat, Chit must be in the state of Anand. Anand means what? It is in a state of peace. See, for example, you take a rock. The rock is not agitated. It is in status quo. You can say the rock is at peace. What a peaceful rock. So anything which is itself and there is no other thing apart from it, apart from itself, will be in a stable situation. Only then it exists, right? If you say the Sat, which is everything, the Sat exists. That means there is nothing other than it which exists to disturb it, to keep limitations on it. Only Sat exists. And anything then which exists for eternity has to be in a stable condition. Any stability is peace. So I will only enjoy Anand when I understand that I am the Sat, I am the Chit. Then there is Anand. Then that's why they say, why do Kabir Sahib and all these great masters say love, love, love? What is love? Love means there is nothing other than me itself. There is this unifying principle I understand. The greatest quality, the only quality that a human being needs is love. Not how we understand personal love. It's just the one unifying identity that I see. A rock I see, I feel love. A bird I see, I feel love. A drainage cockroach I see, it's the same thing as me. That is, it must be in a stable condition. That stable condition is Anand. It's infinite Anand because it's infinite Sat, infinite Chit, infinite Anand. And one will be Anand in Anandam because the moment there is otherness, there is Dukkham. The moment there is otherness, there is Dukkham. When the otherness goes, there is Sukham. Relatively also, right? When you see, I am different from a Christian, there's Dukkham. Are a Christian and Hindu, we are all Indians. There is Sukham. Relatively also, I'm saying, hey, my brother's family, my family. Dukham. Because you see a difference. And it is not your nature to see a difference because you are infinite. The moment the infinite consciousness expressing through this body sees a limitation, this body is in dukkha. The moment you remove that limitation, you see, even relatively, you see, hey, my brother's family is my family, Baba. There's an immediate peace in you. And that is it. Immense peace in you. Extend that to infinity. When there is Sat alone, that Sat is the conscious Sat. And that conscious Sat is only one. There is no opposing force that exists because that Sat is isness. Whatever is. That Sat. Nothing else other than it exists to disturb it or to challenge it or to even see a difference. That must be in a stable condition.
So when the person dies, the Sat is no more.
Is there? Sat is there. The individual goes through a different embodiment. As long as you are in this universe itself is Sat. You are born in the universe only now. So the Chit part goes back into another embodiment. Sat is always there. Everything is Sat. Everything is existence. Anything which is isness part is itself is existence. Why do we detest death? We detest death because we feel because our innate feeling is I am infinite. What if I don't exist? The thought itself bugs you.
That means the Sat is there, but the Chit is not there.
It is there. Sat is
No,
Chit.
when the person dies, the Sat is there all over, but the Chit is not there.
Chit is also there. But it is not expressing through this individual body.
Oh, yeah.
That you consciousness is not expressing through this gross body. It will express through another gross body later on. That you consciousness. When the individuality merges with the totality, then there is no you consciousness. There is no knower and the known. There is just infinite consciousness. This is how they explain. Whatever we understand, we understand. So an individual is explained as mind, intellect, mana, buddhi, ahankar, and memory. Here chit is different, used as mano, buddhi, ahankara, chittam. Chittani naham. I am not the mana, buddhi, ahankara, chittam. So individual is defined as mind, intellect, ego, and memory. That is called upadhi. Upadhi meaning something that imposes a limitation on an entity. That is upadhi. So it's a temporary conditional characteristic and imposed attribute. Upadhi is, see this mind, intellect, ego, and memory is a temporary attribute to make an entity appear other than itself. It's a temporary attribute. to make the entire self appear limited. It's a temporary attribute. That's called upadhi. That's the definition of upadhi. Upadhi means something that imposes a limitation on an entity, a temporary conditional characteristic, imposed attributes that make an entity appear different from its true nature. So what are the upadhis? Mind, intellect, ego, memory. These are the upadhis that make an individual. Now, how all that happens, how did the upadhis come about? I do not know. I don't know if anybody can answer that. But there is nothing, even the upadhis are the self, in a broader sense, if you see. So existence, knowledge, bliss. Okay, verse 27.
रज्जु सर्पवदात्मानं जीवो ज्ञात्वा भयं बहेत् नाहं जीवः परात्मेति यातश्चेन्निर्भयो भवेत् रज्जु सर्पवदात्मानं जीवो ज्ञात्वा भयं बहेत् नाहं जीवः परात्मेति यातश्चेन्निर्भयो भवेत्.
So here is a good example. Like rope for snake, yes, Rajju Sarpavad. Having known self as an individual, like rope as a snake, one is overcome with fear. That means if you see a snake where there is a rope, you are fearful. If known not as individual, but as supreme self, one becomes free from fear. When you see the rope, there is no fear. When you see the snake, then you are in fear. So fear, there are 4 reasons for fear. Fear arises because of what?
You don't know that it is a rope.
Yeah.
Not
Fear arises because of lack of knowledge, ignorance. What are the other reasons fear arises generally?
It's an illusion.
An illusion. Why does fear arise in a human being? Fear arises if you don't know. Na? When you go into a dark room, you are afraid. Why? Because you don't know what is in there, right? That's why fear arises. Fear arises because of lack of knowledge. If I tell you there's nothing in the room, you won't be afraid. When there's knowledge, let's say you know that room, that's your room in your bedroom. You are not afraid even when there is no light. But if some Bhuj Bangla is there, then you are afraid because you don't know what is in there. So fear arises because of ignorance. What are the other reasons fear arises in a person?
when you think you are different from the other.
So when there is otherness, you are afraid. When you feel otherness. If you go to some foreign country and you see a Indian versus you see a foreigner, there is fear with the foreigner, not an Indian. But you may not know the Indian is more, he may, actually, dupe you than the foreigner. But you're not afraid of the Indian. You embrace him because of similarity. When there is otherness, there is fear. The third reason for fear is uh, when you are selfish, you are fearful. Very interesting. मेरा क्या होगा? When there is selfishness, you are afraid. मुझे क्या होगा? That's fearful. That's fear arises from that. And one of the other reasons is when you're destructive, there is fear. That's why you see all the carnivore animals are very afraid. You see a dog, you do like this, what it'll do? It'll run. You see a cow, you do like this, it'll look at you and then say, what do you want? Right? All you see, that's why usually if you see herbivorous animals are not fearful. The lion is just sitting there, it's not afraid, it's eating. When the lion pounces on it, then it runs. But you see a lizard on the wall, so afraid. All the baby, like a kitten, not afraid. It's not selfish, it's not destructive, not yet. A kitten is not afraid of anything. You say like this, it will come to you. There are four reasons. When there is ignorance, when there is otherness, when you have a destructive tendency, when you are selfish. So that's why our sages have said, be a vegetarian. There is no fear in you. Not that all the vegetarians are not fearful. They don't have fear because of, in one aspect, because they are not destructive. They have fear because they're ignorant, they're otherness, there is selfishness. You understand? Just because you're a vegetarian doesn't mean you're fearful. No, you're not fearful. There are other reasons for fear. He could be vegetarian and extremely selfish. So he'll be extremely fearful. He could be a non-vegetarian, but not at all selfish. He is not afraid. So fear comes from four reasons.
Fear also comes when you don't know the consequence of it,
Yes,
of any.
correct. So that's ignorance. You don't know, you don't have knowledge of what's going to happen. That's the first point. You don't know the consequence. Lack of knowledge creates fear. Yes. So when there is a totality, you see individuality, there is fear in you all the time. A wave says, I'm big. Look how high I am. Look at you, you're small, nothing compared to me. Then you see a difference. So here he's talking about that. When there is an ignorance, when the self, when having known self as an individual, that means instead of knowing yourself as a infinite entity, if you feel that you are the individual, you have fear. But if you know that you are the Supreme Self, there is no fear. That's what he's saying.
Vivek, just wanted to check with you whether otherness and lack of knowledge could be the same thing. Because otherness is, you see differentiation because you lack the knowledge that everything is one, the unifying force.
Yeah, you can connect. Yeah. That means everything, everything comes from lack of knowledge. Selfishness comes because of lack of knowledge again. If we have knowledge, why would we be selfish at all? Lack of knowledge applies to everything. Then. If you have knowledge, then you will not be destructive. Okay.
But as long as I am living, I
Mm.
will always see differentiation. No? The feeling of Dvaita is always there. It's very difficult for me to reach that level of Advaita.
So that's why we are not talking in absolutes. We are talking in relatives, relativity. That means to the extent you see the unifying principle, to that extent you are fearless. You sit in an auto. Which religion is that person? If you think, you're afraid. See, the moment you think like that, it is fearfulness. Instead of thinking, it says infinite consciousness, you're thinking which religion is. Religion is a man-made nonsense. Where there is totality, we see limitation. An individuality, which doesn't exist, if you see it in totality. You see a wave, there's ocean. You rightly name, we rightly named it. It's a wave. There's no such thing as a wave. It's system. We are caught up in this. We are captive of this perception, emotions, and thoughts. Imagine a child in a bunker living. He doesn't have an idea of what the world looks like. He will think this is life. How else will you explain? Unless you drag him out and show him the world, he will not understand. He said, this is life, sir. I'm happily living in this bunker. Our entire life is confined by the perceptions that we have, confined by the thoughts that we have. That's it. We have never ventured into even thinking that there is more than this confinement. Even entertaining an idea that I could be more. Where the ancient seers are telling us there is more. Say, humbug. I don't believe in all this Vedas and Shastras and whatnot. I don't believe in that. This is for all you people who are retired and nothing else to do in life. They are saying you are more than the confinement that you have projected on yourself. You're more than the perception that you're experiencing, more than the emotions that you have. You are more, you are greater, you are infinite. This story अच्छा है sir, वो राम सीता का story अच्छा है. शिव जी आए थे. The other day I saw this Shiv Colors TV में Nani was watching. शिव जी का कुछ चल रहा था. Anybody seen that? You should watch it. Colors TV, open it every evening. शिव जी का कुछ आता है. शिव पार्वती. They have made Shiv and Parvati worse than a human being feels. How a human being feels. Worse than us. Going through all sorts of emotions. Like, what are you doing? You know, though we are confined in these perceptions, emotions, there is one saving grace in us. What is that saving grace? Don't say God. To escape, something is given. God has given a blessed thing to us. What is that blessed thing? I don't know if you'll agree with it or not.
Dis- discrimination.
Nah, all it's very high funda answers you're giving. What did God give us, which you will not agree, but it is a fact. God has given us a saving grace. You may not like that saving grace, but it is a saving grace.
That I will do something and get out of it. Kindness. That
Where is that thought coming from? Why is that thought coming from? That is the saving grace, not the thought. The thought
Because
is
actually I am that self only. That is why.
no.
Like I am.
That is an effect of that saving grace. That saving grace
Okay.
produce that, what you said. I want to get out of it. What is the saving grace?
think about yourself.
You don't like that, but it is a God-given gift to us.
Kindness.
Huh?
Think
To
self.
forget.
No.
No.
What else?
You go beyond the intellect.
No. So what is it that God has given to make us question that I'm not defined by the perceptions and emotions?
Sleep.
Sleep,
Is it death? Is it death?
death. Death comes once once only, sir. When death comes, where will you think?
Go to sleep. No, sir. That time you don't get anything.
When you sleep, there is no thought. So how is it a saving grace? It is in ignorance only.
In that deep sleep mode.
Deep sleep mode is ignorance. How is it a
Exactly.
saving grace? It's just a rest.
Okay.
Something is pushing you to question the very concept of reality that you're living in. What is it that's questioning? You know, huh?
That what you said, that potential is there. That
Yeah, potential and all. High fundamentals.
That I am not the body.
वो कहाँ से आया? That is the question, right? वो question क्यों आया आपको वो question? सबको क्यों नहीं आ रहा है? आपको क्यों आया?
Because I've been hearing it.
Why did I get it? Why all of us are getting? See, we are all, what are we trying to do? We are trying to do something more than what as life is predefined us. We are trying to explore that there is, hey, I may not be this body, or I may not be confined to these thoughts and emotions. I may be something else. These seers are saying, these sages are saying that. What has pushed us there? Why? Why are we not? Why are we in this class, first of all? Don't say I'm intellectual curiosity. The saving grace is unhappiness. God has gifted us with unhappiness. That unhappiness, that agitation in us, that life, which is not a happy life in us, has, thank God, it pushed us to think that there should be something more than this way of living.
some void, something is missing.
That something is missing in life. Thank God for this unhappiness, incompleteness. Our dearest friend is that unhappiness. Because if you're happy, why would you venture? Why would you venture into these philosophical questions? Anybody in the world who is ventured into philosophical questions have met with a a wall of unhappiness in life. That no, there must be more. This is not life. We don't have a hope if there is no unhappiness. If there is no limitation that we see, that limitation is the right word. When you see a limitation in life, and that limitation is given to you by God, by these all kind of difficult situations. Oh, there must be more to life. If you are happy, jolly life, a person, why would you venture into all this? And everybody eventually will venture into all this because life cannot be bed of roses. It will not give you happiness. It cannot give you happiness because there is no potential in the world to give you happiness. Infinite happiness is only coming from within.
So, for example, if we see that if I uh, took up this Vedant, say around 45 years back, I was very happy that time. I was not unhappy at all. Say 40 years back, not 45, say 40 years back.
Yeah.
But I mean, this particular thing you said, unhappiness, it doesn't apply to me at least.
Yeah.
I took it with that intention that I found this study very interesting.
Yeah.
I was inclined towards it.
Yeah.
Full-fledged family, married at a young age, having a son, having a daughter, totally happy, and husband being the only son to his parents. For example, I'm telling you about my life. But in spite of having everything, it's
Yeah.
like materialistic, health, wealth, family, naam, roop, everything. But I was totally inclined to it. I was not unhappy.
Yes. So it may not be this, it may be previous. But it
Okay,
has to
that's what I
start.
said, because when you said unhappiness, no, I was not convinced with that answer.
No, I understand. See, you see the logic behind it. If a person is content in life, he will not change the way he is living. Period. Right? That is a simple logic. If you're content with life, you will not change your way. You want to have the status quo of contentment. Somewhere in the past, it may not be this previously, because Swamiji was never unhappy to start with.
Exactly. That's what.
No, he was not. But it
Yeah.
has to start with that, right? It has to be, you must see limitations. If you don't see limitations in this world, why would you want to explore more than this world? You are seeing limitation. Limitation will come with unhappiness, or limitations will come with past knowledge, where unhappiness has to be there. Unhappiness means what? It's not some major things have happened. Unhappiness is a discontentment that you're not getting what you want in world. The discontentment is there. And why is the discontentment? Very simple. Because you are infinite in nature and you want infinity. And as long as you're pursuing the world, the discontentment will be there because you cannot find infinity in the world.
True, very true.
So that's where it starts. And it takes janmas for a person to realize that.
Oh, yes.
It may take one time to realize.
Yes, absolutely.
So the discontentment must be there. That's where you proceed in this.
So the self, that means a person who has no desires and anything, still he'll be looking for something else.
A person who has no desires,
it means
he
he
is
doesn't, he's self-satisfied.
He's
As she
self-realized.
said, if he's self-satisfied, then there is still something which moves him towards the self.
No, a person who has no desires is self-realized. He is the self.
No,
There cannot be a person.
no, like what she said, she was fully happy, and yet she felt something missing. So this can be there. Even if a person is happy, you will find somewhere something is missing.
Yes, absolutely.
That is because what you said, that if the nature is infinite, so we cannot get that happiness with the finite objects.
That's what.
So therefore, it is not because of unhappiness, it is because of the infiniteness what I am, what the infinity I am. So I want for that reason, not for the finite objects.
See, you are having this word unhappiness, there's a negative connotation to it. Unhappiness is, anything is unhappiness now. When you're not happy, you're unhappy, period. Any limitation is unhappiness. So don't
Yeah, and when you say that we are unlimited, so that means if we
see, for example, take Swamiji's example. He went to do college and university in UK and came back. Why did he take up Vedanta? Because he saw that what is the purpose of life? I see a limitation. He interviewed his uncles and aunts and everybody, his friends, his father's friends. They're all well settled in businesses and all have money. Are you happy in life? They say no. Then what am I wanting this for? Why do I want this? All what he is envisioning himself in 30, 40 years is to be in that seat. That fellow is saying, I'm not happy. Life chal raha hai. I asked my friend, how is life? Chal raha hai. I don't want to be there. There is a limitation there. That's a state of unhappiness. I want to not have that limitation. I want to be happy. I want to be content in life. When I sleep at 60, I should be like, I've done my job. I've searched the self, whether I get it or not. It is a state of unhappiness. Even in your 20s, you were looking for something. Or else, why would you approach Vedanta? No person who is happy in the family life, you see one person, one youngster, you come and ask them to attend the class. I challenge you. No youngster will come and attend the class. Just now married youngsters. Ask them to attend the class. Who are the youngsters who attend the class? They've seen something. They've seen a limitation here. They've seen that this process is not giving me happiness. Those are the only people. Whether you are young or now, you have to go back and see there is some limitation you saw, or else why would you be interested in Vedanta? No interest will be there. Phew, I have a very well settled life. I'm very happy with that life. Why am I taking something else? For what? Unless you want to be a teacher, maybe. You didn't want to be a teacher, I hope so. Why would you want to go to a subject which has no additional value to you? Because all the value you're getting in life is from this. Why would you go there? And that is like almost scary. Ye chodo, wo chodo, they will say. Vedanta, if you go. All wrong impressions we have. There has to be something. It can't be. We just not go there somewhere. Will you go to quantum physics now? Why would you go? It has no value for me. I'm happy with my life. I will not go. So there was something which is maybe it was an inquisitiveness. Why did the inquisitiveness come? Because you saw some limitation. Somewhere it has to be. Okay. Any other question? If not, Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Next
Thank you,
time-
sir.
Yeah, next time, would it be possible at 7:45? If not, we can stick to 8. But if it's possible, it will be great. Let me know.
Sir, we stick to 8.
Okay. ठीक है. We'll stick to it. Okay, ठीक है. Chalo.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye.